Stephen Miller just slipped up so bad on national TV that he stopped talking, freaked out, refused to speak, and he froze. They had to cut the program. Take a look.
You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? It seemed, Stephen, I apologize.
That man looked scared shitless because you just know someone is in his ear being like, what the did you just say? Did you seriously just say that on TV? So he stopped speaking. He doesn't know what to do. At this moment, the guy is his fucking pants. Now, plenary authority, for those of you who don't know, it means complete, uncontrolled, and unchecked power. And he's stating that under Title 10, that's what the president has. That's simply not true. Nowhere in any circumstances does a U.S. president have plenary authority. It's what he fantasizes. He's only stating it because this is exactly what he wants the president to have, which obviously, no shit, from what we saw at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, his speech, he creams at the idea of unchecked power. I mean, that's what these people want. It's pretty bad. My name is Mercedes Chandler. This was interesting to see. I mean, I've never seen Stephen Miller brick up like that. Give me a follow or you won't see my face again. Thank you. Goodbye.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, as you saw, this is insane. What Stephen Miller say, it's insane. Like, the president has right to use plenary authorities, and many white people are so pissed about it. They are talking about him like, we knew you are the hatred behind everything. So guys, let's dive in. Credit belongs to the owner of the videos. I'll be back with more commentary.
Plenary authority. Plenary authority. Remember that. That's what he's claiming. At least now we know that his fear response is freeze. And if you're not sure what plenary means, I gotcha. Complete in every respect. Absolute. Unqualified. No, not that type of unqualified. Though in that case, yes. What little SS Miller is claiming here is that Trump has complete unlimited control over the military to do with it what he pleases. No. And by the way, we need to make sure that this ends up in the hands of all the state's attorneys. They need to know for all their legal battles against the White House that someone from the White House and very high up in the administration is arguing plenary authority. And the funny thing is, he immediately realizes he messed up. This whole technical difficulty thing does not make sense. That's not what happened here. Little SS Miller was talking completely uninterrupted, said a word, and then froze. By the way, if you needed any more confirmation about the brain power behind this hate, if the audio had just cut out, he would have had no idea because he was the one talking. If he started getting a different audio issue, maybe like a weird noise or interference, he would have said that, or at least any normal human being would have said, I'm getting a weird noise. This was little SS Miller realizing immediately that he really, really stuck his foot in it. He said the quiet part out loud. One commenter even suggested that perhaps he had been rehearsing this argument to roll out at a later date. And I think that might not be far off. Maybe it wasn't so much rehearsal, but it's clear that this is language that slipped out because that is how he's viewing it and how he's talking about it. They are prepared to claim complete, unlimited authority to do whatever he wants with the military. Wake up. By the way, if you wanted any confirmation of why AI overviews or tech companies are not your friends, when I went to pull up US Code Title 10, which by the way, everyone should download before they try anything sneaky, it was clear people had been looking this up because the top suggested search was US Code Title 10 plenary authority. I clicked to see what people were being served up. And sure enough, in the AI overview, it says that while the US Code does not explicitly use the term plenary authority, instead it defines the authority of the president to call members and units of the National Guard into federal service to suppress rebellion, repel invasion, or execute federal laws, which is a form of broad or plenary power over military forces. And I think it's important that we understand what's happening here because too many people are relying on these AI overviews and ChatGPT, which by the way, you should never go to for factual answers. Plenary does not mean broad. Some people may use it that way, but it means unqualified. Absolute. And by definition, even according to this AI overview, the fact that the powers are defined and limited to specific circumstances makes them not plenary. That qualifies them. Now, can you debate exactly how broad those powers are under those specific circumstances? Sure, and they are. But this is also not the only place in our legal code where these powers are defined or limited. Lastly, by the way, even if we were to just look at this statute, even if he calls the National Guard into federal service to quote unquote quell rebellion, quote, orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of these states. And guess what? Governors, while they have to follow federal law, cannot be compelled to follow a presidential order, because we have something called the anti-commandeering doctrine. It's part of that little states' rights thing. Basically, the principle is that the federal government cannot take over or commandeer a state government to use it as part of the federal government. Ojo, or oye, as it were. It's called a doctrine because this is Supreme Court interpretation of our Constitution. The idea that commandeering would violate the structure of federalism, which means, and yes, you already see where this is going, that the Supreme Court could in fact decide to walk that back. However, that still doesn't give the president plenary powers over the military. The good news, if you can call it that, is that number one, this isn't surprising that this is their goal. Number two, if attorneys are made aware of this, at least they can start preparing their arguments against this language that's obviously going to start being rolled out as part of some argument or another very soon. The third bit of good news is I figured out what Stephen Miller sounds like. First, what you gotta understand is that because he's trying to come off as tough and he's a widow baby, he's in a perpetual pout when he talks. Like this. Number two, you gotta understand that he's a California boy, so you gotta place that pout on one of the characters from SNL's The Californians. I'm totally taller than 4'10". Oh, and the last bit of good news is I'm fairly certain he had to go change his pants after that interview.
Yeah, guys, this is insane and this is crazy. I just want to read you this one. Stephen Miller went on CNN, literally started saying the president has plenary authority, and the way he says, like, the president can just do whatever he wants and give people the creep even cut off in middle sentence, like someone pulled the plug. Actually, it's like he frees himself. He noticed like he made mistake on what he say, and he just quiet and try to stay in one place, as you saw in today's episode. But many people are saying that's not like connection. He do it purposely because he just noticed like he speak like he just say it loud. Guys, I don't know what you think, but let's keep watching.
Stephen Miller said the quiet part out loud accidentally and then appeared to glitch all of a sudden when he recognized how much of his foot he just put into his mouth.
Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me?
Yeah, plenary authority is broad, wide-reaching, limitless power. He just came out and said Trump is an authoritarian. That is where his power comes from, despite the fact that the U.S. Constitution disagrees with him. We're supposed to be a country of checks and balances, and Stephen Miller wasn't supposed to put his foot that far into his mouth. Though seeing even Stephen Miller realize he effed up by giving the game away, and seeing him glitch and just go, was fun to watch.
So Stephen Miller today tried to pull off his best impersonation of Mitch McConnell when he froze up on TV.
Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen?
And he froze up at the exact moment when he said that a president has plenary authority. And if you don't know what plenary authority means, it just means total power that's unchecked. Pretty much without limits and checks and balances. And Stephen Miller saying the quiet part out loud made his brain go into airplane mode. And what I will say about Stephen Miller is that he has plenary authority over making people uncomfortable, and plenary authority over that receding hairline. And I genuinely feel like we got to real-time see a person's brain buffer while their face did a hard reboot. And personally, I'm not a religious person, but I believe that was probably divine interventioning happening on real live TV. because God heard where that sentence was heading and decided to pull his Ethernet cable. So Steven, next time you decide to come on TV and say the quiet part out loud on Glitch, you should probably just have Mitch McConnell come on TV and do it for you.
Stephen Miller claiming that Donald Trump has plenary authority is his open public admission that this administration is involved in an act of treason. Treason is defined as either aiding your enemies, which we probably already are with Russia, or waging war, loving war against your country. Now, that statement alone, he could say, I didn't know what that meant, or I used the wrong word. We all know that he knew exactly what it meant, which is why he froze like a fucking little bitch that he is as soon as he said it. But that coming off the back of Donald Trump ordering American troops to use American cities as training grounds, those two things, hand in hand, that just sealed the deal. That's the hamburger and the bun, baby. That is black and white, cut and dry, a declaration of loving war against the citizens of your own country. And while those two things separately are bad, together, it just confirms it. This is the nail in the coffin. Download those videos, make sure that they don't disappear, and call your fucking congressional leaders. These are open confessions in public.
So guys, actually people are mad, but not just mad, they're also scared. If you see these powerful men try to like scare people, of course people will feel scared and they will feel like they are not respecting the rules and the regulation, because when the leader feel like they're above the law, that's something to be scared of. And I understand where people are coming from. I understand why they are frustrated. I understand why they are furious about all this. It makes sense. And to say this when they were talking about the judges, it doesn't make sense. It scare many people. Like, you understand where people are coming from. For me, I understand personally, because this is insane, guys. This is crazy. So guys, let's keep watching.
Live CNN interview today, Stephen Miller, one of the chief policy advisors to the White House, said, under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority. And then he froze for 16.9 seconds, which is an eternity on live television. What he said and didn't say revealed everything. Title 10 is the section of the federal law that governs the armed forces, the military. It lays out when and how the president can use the military and what rules apply. But here's the key part. It doesn't give the president plenary or unlimited power. In fact, Title 10 is full of limits. It requires Congress to authorize many actions, defines where and how troops can be used, and binds the president to the Constitution and laws of war. So when Miller said the president has plenary authority under Title 10, he combined two ideas that directly contradict each other. Title 10 is lawful limits on presidential military power. Plenary authority is no limits on presidential power. That's why constitutional scholars reacted instantly, because plenary authority is something a dictator claims, not a president bound by law. The 16.9 seconds of silence that followed weren't just awkward, they were historic. It was the moment that he realized he had just said out loud that the White House sees military power as something that can be used at will. In plain terms, he accidentally told the truth about how they view power and then couldn't figure out how to walk it back. Why it matters in 2025? If a president believes they can use the military without limits, that strikes at the heart of civilian control, one of the oldest and most sacred American guardrails. The founders built the entire system to prevent a president from ever turning the military inward on the people. That's why we have the Posse Comitatus Act, congressional oversight, and impeachment. So what citizens can do? Pay attention to language. Plenary authority should always set off alarm bells.
Yesterday, Stephen Miller said something he wasn't supposed to say. While debating a CNN host on Trump's authority to send National Guard troops into different states, Miller dropped the phrase, Trump has plenary authority, and then just kind of froze up. Stephen, oh man, he was most definitely not supposed to say plenary authority. This wasn't just a glitch. It was an accidental revelation. It's like catching someone whispering their secret plan when they thought the mic was off. Plenary authority. Let that phrase sink in. It's a legal term.
So, guys, first of all, I want to explain the meaning of plenary authority. Actually, it's basically meaning full, complete, unlimited power, like you're above everything. And to hear someone from the government saying something like this, it's so scary. And the way he was on CNN, they were asking about the judge house, the house which got on fire, and the way he said like president has right to plenary authority, it scared people. You understand that? This is why many people, they are not happy with what he's doing. This is why many people call him racist and call him like so dangerous. That is why he always threatening and scaring people whenever chance he get. It's obvious, we keep seeing him in the many different interview. Wow, guys, this is, I never saw this coming, and I understand why people are scared. I really hope this time is time for MAGA to open their eyes and see the administration they supported for their, they don't respect rules, they want to do everything they want. No wonder why they always sometimes ignore like court rule. They do whatever they want, they don't want to listen to anyone. Yeah, this is what he was talking about, in other words. So I feel like many America right now, they should open their eyes, because I feel like it's not about which part you are on, whether you are left or right. This is about democracy of the United States and of America. So you have to stand up to fight for your freedom, to fight your freedom of speech, to fight for your democracy. Otherwise, these rich people will do whatever they want. And I understand why people are saying all that. It makes sense, because this is someone really important in government. So for him to openly say it loud, it's so scary on my part. That's what I think. So, guys, I have few comments from the people. Let's hear what the people are saying. The first comment say, "This is genuinely scary. I can't believe he said that loud. Even me, everyone don't believe like he just said that like that. It doesn't make sense to many people, and understand where people are coming from." The second one say, "That wasn't glitchy. Someone definitely told him to stop talking. I think no one told him. He just realized that he say that part quite loud, and he's like, what did I do? That's why he freeze." The third one say, "Every time Stephen Miller speak, democracy loses a hairline." Yeah. The fourth one say, "We fought was to stop people who believe in plenary authority wide times. I can't believe this is happening. It's happening because some of you voted for this." And the last one say, "I'm not even political, but this gave me chill. No one should have that much power." Yeah, I agree with that, guys. I just want to ask you, what do you think about this one? Let me know what you think, and subscribe to the channel if it's your first time. I appreciate that. I will see you next one as always. Bye.